In today's lesson, we're going to be talking about the area of compound shapes. So the shapes we're going to be using are rectangles and triangles. A compound shape is a shape that's made out of two different shapes. If we look at this particular shape here, we see that there are two ways to split it into different shapes. So I'm going to show you, looks like we can split it this way and make two rectangles next to each other, or we can also split it this way and make two rectangles stacked on top of each other. For this lesson, I'm going to stack them this way because I think it's easier to solve. So now I have two rectangles, I have two shapes. So I'm going to label them shape A and shape B. So the first thing is always to make sure I split them correctly, and I'm going to write my total formula. The total area is made up of the area of A plus the area of B. If we look at the area of A, we see that it's a rectangle, which means the formula for finding the area is simply base times height. If I'm only looking at this particular shape, I see that the base is 8, because we know that, okay, if it's a rectangle and this length is 8, then this length is also 8, and the height over here is 6, and ignoring that this whole thing is 10, well, the height of this rectangle is 6. We take 8 times 6. Here's where we run into a little bit of a problem. When I look at shape B, I know that the base is 15, but I don't know what the height is. The height over here is unknown. So what I'm going to have to do is look at all the measurements I've been given. If I look at the entire length of this whole thing, I know that it's 10 long. And this shape here is 6 long. So the distance from here to here is going to be 10 minus 6 to find the leftover height, meaning that the height of this particular rectangle here is 4. Lucky for me, this is also a rectangle, so the formula for finding the area is just base times height. So I do 15 times 4. So do you see how I've written shape A and shape B, and I just went ahead and I plugged in the values or the formulas for each of those shapes. Now I'm going to combine them together, and I'm going to get 48 plus 60, which means my total area is 108 units squared. I'm going to do another one, and this time we have two different shapes, but we see right away that one of them is a triangle. Again, my first step is just going to be to split them into two separate shapes, right where I see a nice convenient divide. And now I see that this is a triangle and this is a rectangle. Once again, I'm going to write my total area is equal to the area of shape A plus the area of shape B. Just like the last problem, this shape here is a rectangle, which is really easy. We see that the base is 10 and the height is 20. But because we have a triangle, I'm going to do this a little bit differently. I'm going to leave my big formula up here, and I'm just going to write, okay, I'm going to find the area of A here. Because it's a rectangle, I know that it's just base times height, or 10 times 20, which means that the area of shape A is 200 units squared. Then I'm going to separately find the area of shape B. In the last problem, because there were two rectangles, it was very easy to do. But because triangles have a special formula, I'm going to do it separately so that it's easier to see. When I'm finding the area of shape B, I know that the area of a triangle is the base times the height all divided by 2. Let's look at this triangle. Because it shares a length with this rectangle here, and this side is 20, I know that the base of this triangle, if we were to turn our head sideways, is 20. Alright, so filling in base with 20. When it comes to height, I have to remember that the height is not any of these lengths here. The height is the distance from this point in a straight line to the base. So my height has been given, and I know from this line out here that this height is 8. So I do 20 times 8, all divided by 2. Then I get 80 units. So the area of this triangle is 80 units squared. If we go back to what I said at the very beginning, that the total is the area of A plus B, now that I've found the areas of A and B separately, I just go back and add them together. 200 plus 80 equals 280 units squared.